Mic check, mic check. What's going on, world? You already know it's your boy SB, and I'd like to welcome you back to episode 33 of season 5 of the Roll Up Podcast. As always, before we get started, I just want to say thank you to each and every one of y'all for y'all continuous support. Just want to say thank you to each and every one of y'all that subscribe to the movement via YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. Thank you for supporting the movement across all social media. Thank you for engaging with the content and helping me spread the movement via word of mouth. And ultimately, thank you for allowing this podcast to be a beacon of positivity in your journey. The reason why we're going where we're going is credit to the love and support that y'all give day in and day out. And as I've said 1,000 times already, I shall forever give thanks like a pilgrim. But before we go any further, we got to cover some logistics first. I would like to extend the invitation, if you haven't done so already, to like, comment, and subscribe to the campaign. We're going to take over the algorithm this year. The second half about to go up. And I just want everybody to continue to interact with the content because we're taking this movement around the world. You can be sure to follow me on social media at The Roll Up Podcast on Instagram and Threads. And again, make sure you subscribe to the campaign on YouTube at The Sauce Brady Experience. Also, be sure to tap into the SauceBradyExperience.com. That's the official hub of the Roll Up Podcast. I got a lot of great content that's getting ready to get added to the movement. And the one way to not miss a beat is to tap into the hub and stay up to date with what's to come. Also, be sure to check out the Sauce Factory and grab you some merch. The Season 5 collection is available right now. And if you purchase any merch, whether it be the Sauce Factory or the Spot, you automatically receive an autographed copy of my book titled You Deserve Better, which is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, along with my first book titled Here's the Truth. Both are really great reads, and as you set out to achieve greatness, these two books will help you find the strength to keep going. I will also be starting a new campaign titled Gaming with Sauce, where we can, chop it up, do a live stream, and we can do a Q&A so y'all can get to know me a little bit better, so we can connect with one another. I'm excited to embark on this journey, so make sure y'all stay tapped in for that as well. But now that we got the business out of the way, you already know it's time to get down with the get down. To keep the conversation from the last 3 episodes rolling, it's important that we understand the importance of making sacrifices. As we touched on before, not sure if I mentioned this in the podcast or only on TikTok, but you got to pay the ticket in order to be successful. Paying the ticket doesn't always mean financially either. Could be missing out on certain events to complete a task, staying up late, getting up early, committing to the process, cutting out distractions, tending to your garden, shedding old beliefs. And, those are just a few ways of paying the ticket. But it's important to understand that nothing is free in this world. Everything comes with a cost, even accomplishing the mission. As always, we got to kick the episode off with a quote. And today's reference point comes from an anonymous source, but whoever said it was up to something, and it's important that we discuss this today. Today's quote reads, "If you don't want to sacrifice for what you want becomes a sacrifice." There's no light way of putting this. There's no sugarcoating it or beating around the bush. It is an indisputable fact that making sacrifices along the journey is a requirement to get into where you want to go in life. Like we touched on in the last episode, to whom much is given, much is required. Sometimes the sacrifice is excommunicating yourself from the world to get your shit together, so you can realign with the vision. Speaking from experience, sometimes it's necessary to block yourself away from everybody in order to see the bigger picture. Sometimes when we make a big mess of our life, we have to take time to clean it up. Whether it's through prayer, meditation, repentance, or sheer accountability, sometimes going AWOL is the answer. Oftentimes, we get lost on our journey because there are too many people in the kitchen trying to take over cooking duties. Meaning, there are many opinions telling you how you should live your life. But in order to truly find a way, staying to yourself, as dangerous as that sounds, is the key to finding the answers to your problems. There's nothing wrong with taking time to yourself. I actually encourage it because at the end of the day, whether we get to where we want to or we don't, it's completely up to us. Making sacrifices is one of the hardest parts of the process because we get a bad case of FOMO and we feel like we're missing out on opportunities. But it's important that we remember that we must be prepared to receive what we're asking for. It's important to note that sacrifices mean more when we are giving up something important for the greater good. When we look at the reasons why making sacrifices are important, we see that at the end, it's to ensure that we reach our intended destination. By understanding the importance of delayed gratification, we are learning to prioritize, building discipline, building determination, and we are understanding the value of hard work. To go back to the opening quote, if we aren't willing to sacrifice for what we want becomes a sacrifice. But in order for the clarity to take place, we must first prioritize what we want now versus what we want more. When we give ourselves clear and concise instructions, we are practicing being efficient in our quality of work. Without prioritizing how to spend our time and energy, we will spread ourselves thin, trying to do too many things at once. But as we've said before, giving yourself a blueprint towards your goals and locking in on the steps, you're forging your path to greatness. Discipline is also learned during the stage of sacrifice. By staying disciplined to the plan, you're learning to be resilient in the process. Again, when we build resilience, we're learning to withstand adversity and being able to push through regardless of what's happening around us. This aspect of the process is crucial because sometimes life is going to throw the house at you to see if you're going to fold. But my advice to you is to think about the dream life you want to live, think about the person you want to be, and stop at nothing until you get to where you want to be. Sacrificing also fuels motivation and determination. When you think about what you're giving up to get to where you're going, you will see that at the end, the sacrifice is worth it. With this in mind, you will be more determined to see the mission through. By keeping the vision in front of you, when you're tempted to break your stride, you will keep your end goal in mind, and that will keep you in check. When we learn to fortify our mind and be rooted in gratitude and persistence, we will be grateful for the old life that has led us to this point, and also grateful to be able to shed the old to grow into the new. When motivation and discipline wears off, that's when resilience and the feeling of accomplishment will kick in to provide that extra fuel to keep going. In the end, sacrifice teaches us the importance of hard work. Kevin Gates summed this up perfectly in his record with 2 Chainz on Trapavelli 3. He said, some individuals look at the success of other individuals and allow themselves to become jealous. Everybody knows what it takes, but everybody doesn't do what it takes. Hard work is just that, hard work. Learning to stay positive when everything is going to shit is hard work. Learning to self-motivate is hard work. Achieving our goals takes hard work. Everything that we are aspiring to acquire requires hard work. It's a part of the process, and unfortunately, majority of the people that want to be successful aren't willing to lock in and do what's necessary to get to where they want to be. The dedication it takes to see the mission through always thins out the herd. But if we can embody all of these attributes, we will rise to the top and the right opportunity will present itself. In order to get what we've never had, we got to do what we've never done. In order to think new thoughts, we need to let go of the old thoughts. In order to reach new heights, we must drop the dead weight that's holding us back. Because if we don't, we become the sacrifice. I refuse to let another year go by and I not give it my 100%. And I assume you want the same. That's why you're listening to this episode right now. But at the end of the day, whatever you want in life is going to come with a cost. You may have to miss certain events. You may have to step away from your family and friends. You may have to quit that job. You may have to stop listening to the opinions of people that quote unquote mean well and find that voice for yourself. The reward is well worth the sacrifice. And if you're having trouble accepting letting go, I hope this episode has reminded you of why you are making these choices in the first place. It is a very difficult thing to skip out on the instant gratification. But when we look at the grand scheme of the whole journey, it's to get better. Because at the end of the day, we aren't making these sacrifices to torture ourselves. We are doing it simply because reaching our goals mean that much to us that we are willing to go the extra mile to get it. As always, I believe in you, and I know you're more than capable of reaching your goals. This episode is your sign to give up the things that's holding you back from being where you want to be and embrace the process. When you embrace the process and all it entails, you're setting yourself on a path to exceed your wildest imagination. I say this as I'm making my own sacrifices as well. We are going to get to our goals this year, and it's through sacrifice, determination, hard work, resilience, courage, and faith that will take precedent over doubt, self-sabotage, procrastination, laziness, and etc. This is our year. Let's lock in on the mission and get it done. With that being said, I hope I said something meaningful with you that you can take with you on your day-to-day journey. I hope I said something that lit a fire under your ass to get back to work, because it's time. I got a lot of things, new things that's happening in my life, man. We just relocated. We just moved. I'm still getting accustomed, to the new scenery. Just started a new job recently. I'll fill y'all in on that a little bit later. But just letting y'all know that the second half of this podcast, bro, it's finna be nothing like you ever seen before. There's a lot of niggas out here doing podcasts. Shout out to them. But I'm telling you, the Roll Up Podcast is literally finna be in a league of its own. So with that being said, make sure y'all subscribe to the movement. Grab your seat early. Make sure you lock into the Patreon. I'll drop that link in the description. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube at the Sauce Brady Experience. Make sure you grab you some merch at the Spot and the Sauce Factory. Remember, if you grab you some merch, you get a free copy of my book. That book gonna be worth some M's. So if you really want to get the bag, like you say you want to get the bag, come invest in your boy. I promise you, I'm putting in the work to return that investment. Hey man, as always, roll a doobie because you deserve it. It's your boy. I'm out of here. Peace.